I'm curious. I had to just poke my head in and see what you guys are talking about. I'm just working. You guys are looking over my shoulder. That's all that's happening right now. So um, enjoy the show. This is for a different video. There's no audio in this. It'll all be replaced with voiceover. But you guys have audio, obviously. Okay, so for those of you who are wondering what just happened, if you watched earlier, I had an issue with the Kraken X62 wouldn't fit in there, and we could have changed the fans to make the X62 fit. Ended up ordering an X52, which is 240 millimeter instead of 280, and it fits perfectly, no problem. And you notice this case has no rear exhaust fan, and the customer ordered an LED exhaust fan, which I didn't think anything of, and he asked me about, what do I think about it? Should I install it? I said, absolutely, you should have that exhaust fan. And it just occurred to me when I pulled it out of the box, which was a pain in the butt, there's only one cable coming out of it, which means this fan is one color. You can't change the color. The whole point of this case is that it's all RGB fans. You can adjust the colors not only to a static configuration, but to breathing or to blinking and all this other stuff. And the fan controller, it allows for up to 6 fans. We're using 3 now. We still have 3 available. When I say the fan controller, I mean the RGB controller, which means you plug one cable into power, which would typically be on the motherboard, and then the other cable goes into that RGB controller. So that was my kind of oh crap moment, because there's been so many delays with getting this built for this poor guy. And now I have to remember, I'm not building this for me. So anytime something like this happens, all production stops. I am done for the day. I can't go any further with this build until I have an answer to this problem. And if it's the answer that I think it should be, then that means we're gonna have to order an RGB fan. It's the weekend, so we're not gonna see it probably till Wednesday or Thursday next week, and it just delays the build even more. Now, I suppose I could move forward with doing some of the cabling, but the problem gets to be in the editing, I start losing continuity, where you'll start seeing images of things that weren't hooked up yet already hooked up. And it'll start, people on the internet love that. They love saying, look, that cable was hooked up 2 seconds ago, now it's not hooked up, and now it's hooked up again. So what I prefer to do in order to keep the video continuity straight and to make it difficult for the trolls to find anything to complain about is to film in order of the build. Otherwise, I have to be very cautious over where I zoom, knowing that cables may be added or removed in future shots, so that those cables are, it's really a lot of work. So at this point, I think I need to stop the build until I hear back from the customer. And this is not my doing. I didn't order this. I don't know if it came free with the case or if the customer ordered it. I think the customer saw a video on YouTube, and the guy reviewing the case recommended a rear case fan, and I think he said the case came with this, but it doesn't make any sense that it came with a blue fan that's always going to be blue. It'll never change, when the whole point of the case is it's an RGB case. So that's what happened. I'm a little upset because I feel like this poor guy has been jinxed in a way. Everything has been a little more difficult than it should be on this build. And he even told me he was kind of regretting ordering that case. I didn't realize how small that case was. I mean, I can't see any way possible for a radiator to fit across the top. You could put maybe 2 fans up there, but there's no way a radiator and fans will fit up there. So the radiator has to go in the front, just like I put it. No choice there. I think it's a really good looking case. I doubt he's going to meet anybody in Montana that's got another one, so I think the uniqueness of it is great, but it has thrown a wrench in the works, just like with the cooler. The 280 cooler is compatible with that case if you take out the RGB fans or replace them with 140 millimeter fans instead of 120 millimeter fans. So those are $36 a fan, and you need to replace all 3 of them. For your $160 cooler, things start adding up really, really quickly. And like I say, all these things just delay the build. It's bad enough I've got to find the time to film, and then when I start filming, stuff like this happens. And it doesn't happen very often. It's typically with parts I'm not familiar with. I've never worked with this case before. I've never worked with the X52 Kraken. I've always used the X62. So that's little details like that, so you can learn from what I'm dealing with here. And you'll see the camera's constantly turned on and off, and the reason for that is I need to have separate video files. Every time you hear that camera beep, I'm creating a new video file. And when I'm editing, that's really important to know where a particular, like this is all radiator install, this is all cabling, this is all power cables. And that way I can get through the editing, which takes forever, just a little bit faster, since I can't individually name the files in the camera as radiator install, you know, or water block install. They all just get put in order of how I film, which takes me back to, if I start working around this problem to continue to build around it, things start falling out of order and I start losing. I have to start looking through hundreds of video files to find the 10 seconds that I need. Then I can't, anyway, so I'm a little upset. But this is the kind of thing that doesn't really happen when you build your own computer. This is the kind of thing that happens when you build a computer for somebody else and you're trying to film it for an audience that's going to look for every mistake you make, wants to see close-ups, wants it in focus, and I'm not complaining. I do this voluntarily, but sometimes I wonder why. Man, oh man, oh man. I can't believe it. I'm so bummed out. Thought I was getting this done today. I got the radiator installed. I got one thing done. And then these are the old fan screws that I took out. I'm just put them in the back with the new fan. And so stupid. It's going to look good. It has no effect on performance, but it delays the build. It complicates the build. Also, it can look pretty. You guys wonder why I'm not a fan of this stuff. It's just stupid. But when you look at it and you go, wow, that's really impressive. Sure, I'll take those compliments. Just as a little added treat for you guys, since you're watching the live stream, and not many of you, well, about half as many as have watched since when I do the more interactive stuff, we usually have about twice as many people in there as we do now. And the other thing this customer wants, which should be interesting, is he's got the cable mod, custom cabling. And I've never used these before, and this may throw another wrench in the works. So that's why I can't really even start the power cabling right now, because I need to do all this at once. And I want that rear fan in, since I'm already showing how to hook up the front fans, you know, with the radiator. Then there's the rear fan, and then that third fan on the bottom. And then I can look into seeing how this is going to work. Hopefully. Again, I didn't really have anything to do with this. The customer ordered his parts, and then he said, hey, could I get custom cables? Is it too late? I said, oh, you got plenty of time. And then they just showed up at my door. That's the extent of what I knew about it. So hopefully they're compatible with the power supply, and he ordered the right thing. We've had them too long to return them. They're black and blue, and as you can see, it's all sealed. I haven't used it yet. So that's what you can look forward to. For those of you curious, this video will be a little different than the videos I've done before. It's going to have just all voiceover, and the whole video should be under, I'm guessing, 14 minutes. And it'll take me, well, so far I've had 7 days of shooting over the course of 5 weeks. And I'm maybe 7 weeks. And then hopefully we don't run into any obstacles with this. I mean, we can always default back to the cables that came with the power supply if push comes to shove. Again, when we're when I'm dealing with parts that I've never used before, I always assume the worst. I shouldn't say always. I didn't assume the worst in this one. I should have. And now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this was the only thing I was worried about, and I haven't gotten to this yet. I love what I do. I love what I do. I love what I do. I'm going to keep telling myself, I love what I do. 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 And then, once again, just a little treat since you're watching live. This will be the graphics card that's going in. He's got a nice this is a Asus Strix GTX 1080 8 gig OC edition, and this should have the RGB compatibility with the motherboard, so he'll not only be able to control the RGB of the fans on this case utilizing, I don't know if you noticed, there's a little wired remote back here where you can control the color, speed, and mode of the lights, you know, if you want them breathing or blinking or flashing. And then with the board itself, this is the Asus 270E Gaming, which has the RGB headers on it, which should connect up to the video card, and then that'll all tie in with the Asus Aura software, so that the video card and the motherboard colors can be controlled through one application. And you'll see it's got the little Aura logo down here. So visually and aesthetically, it's going to be a great looking case, a great looking computer. But build-wise, as you can witness here, it adds some complexity and minutia detail to what would otherwise be a fairly simple build. And then once it's all put together and I ship it from Phoenix to Montana, I'll be biting my nails until he gets it to confirm that none of the glass panels have broken in shipping. The previous live build, the $3,000 build I just showed you guys, that one shipped to Pennsylvania, and it cost me $192 because it weighed 60 pounds when it was all done. And that was the cheapest possible shipping. It was cheaper than USPS, it was cheaper than UPS, and FedEx Ground was the absolute cheapest price at $192. And then I was, I shipped it on a Monday, and it was scheduled to arrive by end of business on Friday. And then I got the email. I let the customer know. I said, look, if there's any damage to this box, please let me know. Don't just plug it in and turn it on. You need to open it up and make sure nothing has come loose in shipping. The little covers on the RAM that that I was showing it were falling off when I was building. Hopefully those didn't come off. Hopefully the video card didn't shift in shipping. And a customer called me, said he got it, and everything was perfect. Plugged it in, they're happy, happy, happy. So then I can go, okay, right, okay. When you're shipping something that heavy and that delicate over 2,500 miles across the surface of the United States, where it feels every bump and pothole, it's a little nerve-wracking. But it arrived fine, and realistically, this one should arrive fine too. It's just the idea that it's got that glass. And it is tempered glass, and tempered glass is very difficult to break. If you're not familiar with what tempered glass is, if you open your refrigerator, the shelves in your refrigerator are probably made of tempered glass. So anyway, we're getting close. We're getting close. But a lot of people are like, yeah, you can build a computer in an hour or two. Well, usually. So I can't wait till I get to open this box, because that means I'll be close to done. Alright, well, I think that is going to wrap up the live stream for today, and you guys will have to let me know if you enjoyed just being a fly on the wall and watching. maybe I'll do it again, or if you guys don't like it and if the view numbers aren't there, I'll try something different, and I'll just keep trying different things until we figure out what the formula is that seems to work. In the meantime, thank you again for watching, and I will see you all again very soon. Until then, bye for now. Oh, before I forget, you will find, how am I going to say this? I'm experimenting with Twitch right now, and just putting up live broadcasts that are really nothing more than the completed edited videos I've done, just to see if the bandwidth is there and how it's all going to work. And also vid.me, I'm experimenting there as well. And if you have any other suggestions for video distribution platforms, which can pull me away from YouTube and all of the bullying issues I'm having both with the YouTube and other people on YouTube regarding fraudulent copyright, the stuff I've talked about in the past. Trying to broaden the audience. So if I can grab some Twitch audience, if I can grab some vid.me or Vimeo audience, I know there's a couple of platforms out there. Preferably, if I can't make money from it, then at least hopefully I can generate an audience to draw them over to YouTube, where I can, increase my audience. If you guys have any ideas, please leave them in the comments below this video. Those of you watching live, when I'm done, the video has to process before it will become available. So you probably need about an hour before you'll be able to leave those comments, I'm guessing. And then the video will be available for everybody who is now going to watch it pre-recorded. So again, I will see you all very soon. Thanks again for watching.